Fall ball practice is underway for OU softball, and the first Battle Series game will be on October 2nd. That's next week. And it also means for the first time we'll get to see this new version of Sooner softball coming up on Wednesday. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm ready to see this squad. I've already previewed the true freshman class and the incoming transfer portal class, so let's look at what's returning, because there's a lot to like with what OU has coming back in the circle and at the plate. There's a thought that, wow, this is going to look like a totally new team, and in some cases that is true, but maybe more talent, maybe more numbers returning than you think. Let's get to it. Now, I want to start with Ella Parker, which clearly means I'm not going in alphabetical order. I just have so much to say about her, and I want to get the point across to you immediately in this video, just how special she was last season. Look, if you followed this team last year, you know that she was good as a true freshman. But do you really know just how good she was? Let me put her season into perspective for you. And let's start with this. Ella Parker hit .415 last year. .415. She led the team. And it's not like she was used sparingly. No, she had 176 at-bats and started 58 games. She played and started in the biggest games of the season and played extremely well in the biggest games last season. Guys, in a lineup full of legends, names that we're going to be talking about for a long, long time, she led that group, she led that team as a freshman with a .415 average. Insane. But that's not all with Ella Parker. Oh, no. There's more. She was 7th in the Big 12 last year with 13 home runs. 3rd in the Big 12 in RBIs with 62. Yeah, she can hit. Clearly, I've made that point. But guys, she can also run. 17 of 21 in stolen bases a year ago. Most on the team by a wide margin, and 3rd most in the Big 12. Go look at an offensive statistic, and she was top 10 in the conference. Ella Parker was incredible. I don't even know if an incredible is the right word to use for her true freshman year. Now, there's a little bit more pressure on her this season for sure. She'll need to be a big bat this year. Last season, it felt like more of a bonus if you could get big numbers from her. But this year in her sophomore season, it has to happen. And there's some pressure with that. But look, I don't doubt Ella Parker for 1 second. In fact, and I really don't want to be hyperbolic here, but this is a player that's on track to do some incredible things that includes being at the top of some major offensive categories in program history. She's not there yet, and we've got a long ways to go. But the start that she's already had, yeah, it's exciting to think about what she could accomplish at OU. In my opinion, the sky is truly the limit for Ella Parker, and I think that she could absolutely be one of the top 3 hitters, not just on this team, but in the SEC next season. I think that she's that special. Very interested to see how much defense she plays this year, but with a bat like that and her ability to take extra bases the way that she can, she's incredibly valuable to the softball team, regardless if she's playing defense or not. This is a future All-American, guys, and that may happen as soon as this year. I'm going in random order here, so speaking of an All-American, let's go to another player that I think will be an All-American by the time she's done at OU, and another player, by the way, that was fantastic as a true freshman last season. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Kasidi Pickering. Like Ella Parker, to be able to start as many games as she did on a team filled with legends is incredible all in itself. But to contribute at a high level in a lot of those games, and even to be a main reason why you won some of those big games, is insane. 5 hits for Kasidi Pickering in the final 3 games of the year. That's Florida and Texas twice. Biggest stage that softball has to offer, and she was really good. Just insane for a first-year player. She hit a grand slam in her first collegiate at-bat, for crying out loud. Started 64 games, hit .389, top 15 in the Big 12 with 12 home runs, top 15 in the Big 12 with 51 RBIs, top 15 in the Big 12 in a lot of major categories. So, yeah, she was really, really good a year ago, and someone that I predicted will, like I said, also be an All-American by the time that she's done with her OU career. And maybe, like Ella Parker, it happens this year. Super, super excited about Kasidi Pickering because, well, there's a lot to like. She's absolutely a starter for this team this year, and I think one of your best bats in the order as well. Now, the big thing for Kasidi is she'll need to take on more of a leadership role this season, and I'll be interested to see how that comes along. But she demands instant respect for the kind of player she is and the things that, frankly, she's already accomplished in just 1 year at OU. That's a pretty good start to transitioning into more of a leadership role. I like her a lot. I'm sure you do as well. And the experience that she got last season on the biggest stage will be massive for a year like this in the SEC. But with this new challenge, I just don't worry about her. Didn't feel like the spotlight ever got to her last year as a true freshman. She never looked overwhelmed at any point last year, which is really impressive. Can't wait to see more of Kasidi Pickering in her sophomore season. Next up is Cydney Sanders, and she's one of the few players that have played more than 2 seasons at OU. And this is a big year coming up for Cyd. The 242 average from last year, yeah, it needs to be better, but she can absolutely hit the ball out of the park with the best of them. 15 home runs last year, 6th in the Big 12, 50 RBIs, 12th in the conference last year, and some really big moments. A huge double that gave OU the lead in the title-clinching game against Texas. Huge home run against Florida State in the championship series in 2023. She's had some huge moments at OU, and her biggest moments have been, frankly, in the biggest games, and that's a very promising thing. And, of course, you'll take that. But consistency is something that I'm sure that she's striving for this year. She's got power, a ton of it. She clearly has the clutch gene. She can defend. She's just an excellent player all around. But can she be more consistent? Because she's going to have to be, seeing as I think she's going to be a major, major part of this team this year. If it all comes together for Cydney Sanders, I think she could be towards the top of the SEC in home runs. So yeah, let's hope everything comes together for her this year. But if nothing else, just get Cydney Sanders to the championship series. Just get her there. Because if history shows us anything, it says she won't just come up with a big hit, she might come up with the biggest hit of the entire season. Next up is another player with a big year upcoming, Kierston Deal in the circle. And to me, there's no doubt that she's going to be a major part of things. But here's the question. Can she be the legitimate ace that this team is going to need? When we talk about KD, I think we need to use a very similar word that we just used with Cydney Sanders. Consistency. There's been some high-level moments with KD, but it hasn't always been consistent. The time is now for the former number 1 pitcher in the 2022 class. 1.97 ERA last season, 14-1 record, had a sub-1 ERA in late April, but a couple of rough outings in the Big 12 that pushed that number back a bit. But this is her year, and I'm fascinated to see what she does with it. Is KD the favorite going into fall to be that ace for this squad? I think so, because she has the most OU experience of anyone else in the circle. But we know there's other arms vying for that spot that are newcomers, and we'll see what we think after fall ball is over with Kierston Deal, but I do think that she has the stuff to be really good next year. I think she has the stuff, but it's easier said than done to be that OU ace, and I think that she needs to be really good in the fall to really set herself up going into the season as the unquestioned best pitcher on this roster. So yeah, this fall, let this be a fall where Kierston Deal really finds a lot of confidence, has a lot of success, because regardless of where she's at in the rotation, she's going to be needed this year, ace or otherwise. But I fully expect Kierston Deal to be a major, major part of things in the circle for OU softball. Next up is Nelly McEnroe-Marinas, and keep your eyes on this one. I'm just telling you, I've got a feeling about this one. Injured last year, but I've really spent some time looking into her past, what she was coming out of high school, and there's a lot to like, especially offensively. In my pre-fall starting lineup, I have her starting at third base, and I think that she wins that job because there's a lot of power from her at the plate that we haven't necessarily seen just yet. She's strong defensively and has more than enough arm at third base. I just see an athlete with Nelly is what I see. I really like her, and I think she's the name to know that will be a star by the end of the season. Needs to stay healthy, and hopefully she does, because I think that she's due for a very strong year and a really good career with all the potential that's there. I'm buying Nelly stock. I'm buying as much as there is out there. And I would advise you to do the same before it's all bought up. Next up is Maya Bland, and I've said this before, but my hope is that she's your next Riley Boone. A terror on the base paths, rangy in the outfield, can get on base. There's similarities in their game, at least I think. And though I hope it's the comparison that we can soon make, Maya's going to have to do some incredible things before we put them in the same category. Why? Well, you already know, because Riley Boone was so incredible and so consistent as well. In my pre-fall lineup, I have Maya starting in left field. She's a second-year player, and we mostly have seen her run bases last year. 8 stolen bases last season, but she did get some at-bats as well, 15 to be exact. And in those, she had 5 hits. 2 of those were doubles. pretty good as a first-year player. Also had 3 walks, 444 on-base percentage, and that's exactly what you need from Maya Bland this year. Don't need Maya to hit home runs. You need her to be good defensively and get on base consistently. That's it. If she can do those 2 things, be solid in the outfield, get on base consistently, she's going to be a really good player this season and serve the role that this team needs. I'm excited about Maya Bland. I really am. I think that she's a spark plug type of player and someone that's going to be really fun to watch with all of that speed. And if she's anything like Riley Boone, she'll soon be one of our favorite players on the entire team. Next up is Paytn Monticelli. I like Paytn Monticelli, and I really liked her when she got a massive out in the game to clinch the national championship against Texas. She came in with the bases loaded, 2 outs in the top of the 3rd in a tie game. One of the biggest moments of that entire game, and that's the moment I feel like we're going to go back to if we're ever talking about Paytn Monticelli having an incredible season, because that's my hope right now. I think she's talented. Wouldn't be at OU if she wasn't. But I'm hoping that moment and the confidence that comes with it really vaults her career forward. And I think you see that a lot in collegiate sports. You see someone make a big play in a big moment, and things kind of change for that player. Maybe that's Monticelli, and this team could really use that in the circle. I would project her today as someone that will compete for a spot in the starting rotation, but if nothing else, I think she'll be a nice piece as a reliever. That was mostly the role that she served last year. 1.09 ERA, 19 1/3 innings in 18 appearances. She'll have a role this year. She'll pitch more innings, but will it be as a starter or will it be as a reliever? Excited to see which one it is with Paytn Monticelli. Last but certainly not least is Hannah Coor, who was awesome last year during the fall. One of the best players OU had in the Battle Series. She's had a tough go of it with injuries, and we found out in June she's had her 2nd back surgery. So more than anything, I hope Hannah Coor gets that fixed. Going through that much back pain sounds really, really rough. And regardless of what happens to her on the field, let's just hope that she gets back to 100%. But if she can, if she can get healthy, I think she's a very intriguing piece on this team. Again, we've seen what she can do. It's not something where, we've never seen her healthy, therefore we've never seen her play. No, we've seen her play. And when we've seen her play without pain, she's a fantastic softball player that can really do some damage. So that's my hope for Hannah Coor. First and foremost, get rid of the back pain, get healthy, and if she finds herself at 100% this year, watch out. She's a player that could absolutely make a big difference for this team. Who are you most excited about from the returners? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thank you for watching.